Okay, so we'll take what we did yesterday to what we have on that Shall Do app. We'll go back and reference it. What we learned yesterday is that the form can submit more complex data, but you still have one form per element. You guys see this here? Right? And I was just showing us how we submit. If you hit submit, this is a very common thing. If you hit submit anywhere, you should probably print out the params. This is a very good practice. In Rails, it prints out by default for you, by the way, in the log. So right after visiting any page like that submit, when you go to this form, it go to /toggle, and I just pretty much print that params, so it's easy to read. So this could be your very standard practice. Obviously, the word toggle is unnecessary because it's right before this line. But yeah, it's up to you. Okay. So why is it toggle? We know that it's because of this toggle word. So far, so good, right? And from yesterday, we learned that we have here. I don't know why I have two indexes here. They will overwrite one another. So I have one name index and one name. These are the two keys in the params. All the input elements go into the params, right? There is a special case where if you mark something as checked, I don't have a name element here, do I? So if I mark it as checked, I disable it because this is displaying. But if I really want to submit it, then I shouldn't disable it, and then I put a name to it. For example, done checkbox. Then you guys can load it and see that I can mark this as are you sure it's done. So there are cases when you submit, it has the value, and the checkbox is that special. When you don't check, you won't get it, right? The done on here, okay? What's happening today, I'm going to remove all these forms, and I'm going to submit the whole thing as one. So first step is to remove all the forms here. All right, and I will go in, put the form outside. So let's create a form here. So this will be your form. And let's go to a different page. So I call this update all. Right? And I wrap it around the whole thing. I wrap around the whole thing, and I'm gonna just go here and see what it looks like. Home page. I wrap around the whole thing, right? It looks slightly different because I think it affects some styling. So next up, you need to change the styling, but I'm encouraging everyone to test one step at a time. As always, so you now have a button, but all these buttons are in the same form. So I'm going to click mark as done, and this is what we're getting. Initially, it's a get request. Why? We haven't changed the method. And should it be a post or a get? Post, because we are saving data, right? So once again, go back here, mark is done again, then you see the post here, right? And the second step is to add this guy, but instead of this, remember, you're going to display the params. So it's very nicely displayed, and I'm just going to return back to redirect to this. Let's go back to that page. Okay, I don't need to display the params on the screen anymore because I can see it over here. All right, redirect. By the way, there's another syntax which is redirect back. So it's the same in this case, right? It just go back to the previous page. So I'm going to try. Click mark is done. It goes back to this page. When you redirect, obviously you have lost all your params, and that's okay. The index page doesn't care about the params. What I care about is what I got over here. Now, do you guys notice something? How many elements do I have in this params?
Only one.
Correct. So what's happening here? You still have 3 elements in this params, but like Oscar said, we only have one. Which one? Which one? The last one. Do you guys see that you have input everywhere? Input, input, and none of them get saved. Only the last one gets saved. That's not what you want, right? So today we're learning the complex bit of it. I'm going to ignore, I only need to submit 2 things.
So this happens because it's an each do thing, right? So he goes through them one by one.
It happens because the keys are the same.
Okay, so he gets the keys from the first one, second, and then they just...
All the items have the same key, so when they submit, the final one will overwrite all the previous ones. Is that clearer?
Yeah,
Make sense? So you may think that, hey, I'm going to fix this, right? I'm going to change this name to unique name every time. You can do that. You could change this like, for example, what if I change it to name underscore, item index. All right. Can you guys use your imagination and see what's going to happen? I'm going to remove this hidden index thing, right? It's not super useful for me. I'm going to remove the checkbox as well. So I'll disable the checkbox as usual. I don't need it. No need name done. So one more time, before I save everything, watch this closely, okay? I click a button. I only have name now. Are we clear on that? I only have one guy with the name. So now I change his name to this guy, right? Basically, it has a dynamic name. Let's see what happens. In this input, you see name underscore 5. In this previous input, you see name underscore 4. What happens when I click any button? You get a much bigger hash. Say name 0 is that form, name 1 is that form, name 2 is that, name 3 is that, name 4, name 5. Still good? Right? So it makes us think, I'm just submitting key value, key value, key value. Can I submit an array? Yeah? You're thinking that in your head, right? Do you know how to do it? Okay. Now how do you create an array? So you just do one input text outside and then you map all the array into one? Is that how you're going to do it? So I think Ian's point of view, his point is that, let's say, here I call it names, but the values here will be like, items.map, get all the name, and then you join them with a string like this. Maybe? Is that what you thinking in mind? I'm going to try, okay? And then you see this input has all of this already. So when you submit, you have an extra thing here is the names. Do you guys see all of them? Joined by the comma. Sorry, the font's a little hard to see. Make it bigger. Do you guys see what I just did with this input? Any thoughts? Do you understand this part? Array of hash, how would you do it? Okay, so your point is I need to submit also whether it's done or not, right? Okay. So here's another problem though. If you have a comma inside this and you submit it, right? It'll look pretty weird that the names will get submitted with the comma inside. It's not a good idea. Obviously this is a very unsafe way of doing your data, separating your data. Some of you may feel, oh no, but I just use a different separator like this or something. This is still submitting a string, and then you have to split the string. That's a lot of work, yeah? So, all right, we're not going to use params names. We want to do an array of hash, like what Ian is saying. In that hash, imagine if we can submit an array of like name is learn forms, and then done is done, and then you have an array where this is the second one, learn, input text, and then here will be also done, and then the third one will be undone. We want to submit the whole thing under this params. That would be nice. So that will be params item. It will be this this array, right? More element down here, right? So here's how you do it. One step at a time. The first thing I'm introducing is the idea of a special symbol like this. What if your name has a bracket in here? Are you guys ready with the bracket? I will resubmit, reload the page. No longer you have that form, you mark as done. You have name, and it's an array. So Sinatra is very smart now. It understands that, hey, you passed all this input under the name square bracket, and it parses them for your params to work. Does it seem to make sense? It's easy enough to remember. So it means you probably should not call it names. You could call it names. No? And then now I reload and I just submit anything. I get names to be these guys. So params name is an array. Good, right? But you're like, but if I submit that, I don't remember my done items. So I might have the second one as status, and then this thing is statuses. Okay? And I'm gonna press something as this done thing. I don't want to display it, so it's gonna be hidden. Okay? Hidden. I'm just gonna hide. By now you know what happens when I do hidden, right? To make this look prettier, I'm gonna hide not only the statuses, I'll make this hidden as well. And I put back the standard text item name. So you can see the line through. Line through, right? Hidden, right? So the checkbox, there's no need anymore. Let's keep it really clean. All right. So one more time, if I click the button, you now get two arrays. Names is the first key. You get this array. Statuses is the second key. You get this array. Okay? So it can be useful if you go to app.rb, and I'm going to go in here. I will say params names. Now I can do .each. This will be item name, and something like that. But then here I can only create an item, like new item is name is name. I can't do much. Is that right? So then I have to do something like, here's my item, and here's my items. I have to add the items to it. Then I'm finished with creating the items, but I need to remember whether it's done or not. So I have to do params status says, alright, each do status. Now I need to do items index something, but I don't know what the index is. So you're like, no problem, I have an index here, right? And this is my index. This index will be status. You don't have to use instant variable here, by the way, so keep this. Alright, so does that make sense to you guys? Let's see if that makes sense. I'm introducing this again. Go to each name and I create an item for each.
Can we just
Yeah, you can group them, like you can call them like this. Names dot zip params statuses. So after you zip, you have them. But it's still pretty ugly. And your code may not be very readable, right? So I'm gonna show you guys how to zip it. For example, I copy this thing, right?
I'm just trying to think. Can you explain? Can't quite follow why we need the index in the second one.
Yeah. So
because in the first one, it's just gonna add. Isn't it just gonna add the status in the same order? Oh, no, it's a.
yeah, it's a hash. Well, okay. So I need you guys to understand these lines. Okay. So what is params name? So I'm gonna do params is this is the params. Okay. Params name is an array. So I'm gonna let's say items is nothing. But I'm going to use the map way it's faster. Params dot map. Here's params name, map, and each item I create a new name. No? Is that okay? I need a names here. So this is how you have your item, create your items. But now you need to mark these items as done or not done. And your items is this, and your params statuses is this. Now you have to pair them together. And you know the index matches. So the one way to do that is very simple as each, but now you need to do with index. Do status, index, and here your items with this index, and then you need to get the status. That's the thing that I missed up there. To be status. Now check out my items. Ta-da! So that's cool, right? This is my items. The problem, so I think Oscar just caught the bug up here, right? It looks weird if I just do that. So I need to set only the status. Okay? Obviously, you can set it the faster way if you do this. I'm gonna show you guys. If you do this, zip the two arrays together. You have this array learn forms, done, learn, done, learn, done. After you zip it together, then each do, and in here you have, an element, right? But this element has the first and the second. So you can create an item that is basically, this is e.0, that's name, e index 0, and then status is e index 1. Obviously, I'm pushing you guys hard here. If you do this, then you can create with this one loop by zipping the two arrays together. Okay? I can only get that to work with map because I didn't assign it to an items like this. So I'll just show you guys using the map way. One more time, this one. Look at the end result of the map. Name, from, status, done. Okay? This is the first element, you can do e dot first. This is the second element, e dot last. Are we feeling better about arrays? This is not bad, right? It looks cool. What if I tell you that I can get the whole thing to submit? Yeah, sorry, today I split the class in half. So you need to use the other room, right? Okay, so we're clear here, right? Ask before I proceed because, okay, so we know how to deal with array, and you know how to handle the array syntax in the params, okay? Right? And now if I'm going to try a different way to handle it, is that I'm going to submit them together, learn forms and done together. Okay, so let me try this. You can probably guess. Some of you are smiling there. If I put the next one as name, and I change, so this, look at this status thing, but I'll keep this. The first one, I change it back to items. So that's an array, right? This is an array of names. We remember that, right? This is an array of names. But I call it items now. But I say, hey, if you submit it, I'll just store it in the name key, and I'll store this in the status key. Right, take a good look at that one. And so now I'm going to run the app again. Let's look at how it looks over here, right? You see that it has the name, items, the square bracket here, and the name. Okay? So the square bracket here means params item will be an array. Params item will be an array because you see the first square bracket. The second square bracket means the item in that array, the element in that array, will be a hash. So I'm going to try submitting. And I'm going to, it's failing because I have all this code that work with the params. They don't exist anymore, so I'll remove them, okay? I keep them back like that. Let's submit. And now take a look. Here's the items. Here's the array. But in each array, you already have it.
So, makes sense. I'm a little bit surprised that, because it seems like it would create two arrays, but I guess if it already exists an items array, then it just
They combine together.
combine together.
What's the two array, right? Params item array and params item array. Then they merge together. When you put, well, think about this. If I only have this item thing, okay, I'm going to delete this line. This line is going to appear a lot, right? Because I have .each. So you pretty much you see this in your code, but then it's a different item name each time. So it's the same array. They just get all pushed into the same square, right? This is square bracket. So that's how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that, right? So that's 6 items because I have a dot each. But then that's not enough. I say, look, yes, you put it in there, but keep them in name for me. So I'm going to only keep name. And I mark this done now. You see, I have names like that. And once you understand this, you can do the second element for status. And here, this will be your status. And you can do the third one for priority or anything else. Sounds good? So it means now if I run this, I have, I click any button at all, it will submit the array for me. Let's make this work now. I don't even need the mark as done anymore. You see, where is it? The toggle thing. You see how long that is? Forget them. Why is it long? I needed to load from the, you know how last time mark is done? I need to load it from the file. And then I need to find the item. And then I toggle it. And then I save to the file. So 3 steps. My toggle thing, I don't need anymore. I'm not submitting to toggle anymore. Remember, it was a form toggle for each one of these. Form, action toggle, form, action toggle. Now just one form, update all. So I'm going to make all of these buttons work. You look how simple our code is right now. That's the index page. This is a submit page. That's for a new item. Let's do update all. What I have is params, items, okay? Params, items, already all the items. There's nothing to do. You have everything here. So remember how I saved the file? I just save it like this. Right? Open the file. Open. Now I write to the file. I'm not going to append to it. I write to the file. And I write to the file by saying, for any item, I just write with this, if item, items.each do. Let's close it here. Items.each do items. If items status is done, then you're going to add this to the to the file, right? If not, maybe you're just like, I'm gonna add a new line as well. If not, then what?
Same but without the X.
I love just copy and paste and then make it very clear like that. I think that's it, right? I could use map here, by the way, but it will be harder for us to see. So it looks like after I finish this each, I save everything I needed to save to the file, and then I redirect back. Okay, so let's see if it works or not. Open the to-do thing here, and I say I mark this as done. Uh-oh, something's not working. It works. It submits everything and it saves everything, except it doesn't remember what was marked as done. Our mark as done button is useless. Do you remember that? No, you don't, but this is obviously, I click any button, it's marked as done anyway. I need this button to be more useful. I have to tell this button to say, I am going to update that element. So, I'm going to say, this button is going to say mark as done, you can say mark or toggle. And I need the value now. That's the tricky part. If I change the value, the button change the text. Right? It's not super powerful. So I'm going to change to button text. Now I have control over my mark as done or not done, right? So I'm going to call it toggle. Toggle means if it's done becomes undone, undone becomes done. And then you keep the type submit like that. My button has a name toggle, but the value, you need to tell the form what item are you toggling. There are two ways. You can give it the name of the text, or you can give it an index. If you give it the name, then you will find the item based on the name. If you give it an index, then you find the item based on the index. So my demo so far, I use index. So why don't I do that? Okay. So now look carefully at the submitted data. I still haven't handled it yet, but I'm going to click toggle. Nothing's happening, but where's my toggle? Let's say toggle 2. That's how, down here, toggle 2. That's how I know what item to update, 0, 1, 2, right? So it means if params toggle, right? So what is params toggle? What's the value? Index, and what is it? 2 here, right? So I'm gonna say index is params toggle 2i, and I remember the previous index. I do items index, right? I'm gonna toggle it. So I say if items index status is done, then you set it to be undone, else you set this to be done, right? There is one problem. You want to update all of this before you save to the file. Do we agree? So when you submit to update all, I check if you actually press the toggle button. If you press the toggle button, then I'm going to mark that item as done or undone, and then I save to the file.
Yeah, and the reason why there's only, makes sense. The reason why there's only one toggle value is because only one button was
right.
So,
very similar to checkbox, right? But the button, it only submits the button that you press.
So it submits the two arrays of, the one array of items, the two keys.
Yeah.
Plus, it adds, hey, on this one item, the value for toggle.
Yeah. And notice I don't need to store an array of toggle, right? I'm not toggling a ton of items.
All the other ones have no value.
They have no value, right? It's not sending. It only sends the one you toggle. Even though you have many of them, it's okay to override them. You only need one. But now let's see. Come again? Index, correct. If you pass in the name, then in your array here, you cannot use this index you will have to use a find method to find the item from the array. We toggle two buttons. How can you toggle two buttons? When you hit toggle, it submits immediately and it refreshes the page. Yes?
How do you have index? You don't use each.
Good. So how do you have index? That's a fantastic question. Yesterday I touched on this. When you prepare the items, you put the index in it as well. Another way is, like Lloyd could have discovered, that you can do index over here with index. Okay? But I like the one that you put the logic inside the app.rb file. Once again, try to avoid as much logic in the view as possible. Only just print data. The most you do is if else. Even if else, it's like, only if you really have to do it. And then each. Okay? So let's see if it works. Refresh. And I mark, are you sure? Uh-oh. Can someone help?
49.
I think you have to look at the items before you do
Where? Oh, thank you very much. You get the items first, you toggle them if necessary, and then you run. Alright, let's try it. You can refresh this page. You see that? Toggle, and I toggle again. I'm done. Pretty beautiful, right? One form. Very little code. And all this extra code, guys, if you use the item class, you will move all of them to item.toggle. Right? This is the difference between hash and class. Like with hash, it's so convenient. You can just use everything in one file here. But then things get pretty messy. You cannot do like .toggle here, right? But with class, then you can do like item index. Let's say, for example, .status or .toggle. You can keep implementing more method to it. So keep in mind the differences.
So just one form to focus on just one purpose. Because this would be a good practice to create a form for all the pages and just like
So you say it's good practice to use one big form?
it's not good practice.
It depends on the use. Like what we did yesterday, that's not bad either. You can create one form for each, but a lot of time you have to learn how to handle complicated forms like this. Sorry, can you explain again?
So if I create a big form,
Uh-huh.
I use to update all of it at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Then the info that I will send to read an array of paths, upload and another thing.
Uh-huh.
So that just not makes sense.
It's not what?
I think you're saying that if you implement these big forms, then you're sending a lot of data that you're not using.
A lot of not using and not related to each other.
Are they not related?
The toggle and then the array is
Right. So sometimes, for example, this may be done by JavaScript or, depends on the use case, yes. I just explained to you that yesterday was one way. There's a form for each item. Today we learn another way. It depends on the use cases, right? Let me explain to you why this way is extremely important. Remember this, when you drag this, you see the save button here? After you drag, all these guys get reordered, and when you submit, the data gets submitted together. It will save the position. If you don't use one big form for them, you cannot do that. You cannot have a form inside a form. That's not allowed. Okay? So when you start seeing this, for example, this data is related to each other, no? They have the different order, right? Now think about any survey that you've done in the past. So Google Forms, example. I'll just take one example. Is there one that maybe someone can I don't have one because let me just see if I can show you guys. Use this form, right? Who here has used Google Form before? Only 3 people? 4? So this is Google Form, right? You guys see how many inputs we have on the screen? And then you see only one button? It's very similar. We're just dealing with complicated, setup here. So it's a complex form. You can, some people answer a survey. You have a 1 question, 2 question, 3 question. And inside each question, you have the choices people submit.
I love type form.
Yeah. So Typeform is a fancy, UI UX on top of it. Google Form is quite right now. It's quite phenomenal. Whereas if you start typing the question name, it can guess the answers you need. Like, is it a multiple choice or is it a text area? Because it's basically, I can probably show you. For example, this is my wedding invitation form. It can guess, and it can do so it uses machine learning to guess the form. You can, whoops, it's the wrong one. But I don't know where the form is. Maybe let's say form here. So for example, right. So here's the form that you can start adding images, and you can do like. So Typeform is great, but starting out, you might prefer Google Form because it's easier to design. Yeah. So imagine all these checkboxes. You have to submit more than one, and now you guys know how to submit them because we just implemented these guys. Okay. I wanted to show you a different page, but that would be like a lot more pages in here. So never mind. All right. So back to our app. Do we understand how things work with the toggle now? And in your lab, you will implement the drag and drop. And when we drag and drop and the auto changes, when you save, there's a save button. It will submit the data in the order of the HTML, and it will save the new thing. So that's sexy, right? So very quickly, I'll just take another 5 minutes. In the lab here, previous. That's what you understood with these commands. Now they are intentionally written with some parts that you have to think where to put the code. So if you get stuck, you ask some questions here, right? It's not intended to be like super clear where you can just copy and paste over. So I'm going to explain the JavaScript bit. For the first time, you're going to add JavaScript to your code. And this is how you add JavaScript. There's a thing called a script tag. So in HTML, if you write script here, and I say, if I write alert hello, that is JavaScript for you. This is inline JavaScript. This is inline CSS, right? You've already learned inline CSS. So JavaScript, if I run this, now I have alert hello. I don't know enough JavaScript today, right? Like, in our class we haven't learned anything, so we can't really write much script here. But what we can do is to include jQuery to our app. And there's one way, which is to use the jQuery CDN, Content Discovery Network. If you use the CDN, then they give you a link for you to put in your code like this. Okay, and then you have jQuery, a JavaScript library to your code. Now, if you do this, then when you don't have internet, it doesn't work, right? So I'm gonna just show you guys how to just do it with the your own version, right? So we download jQuery, right? Again, this is like the CDN version, but I'm going to save it into my project. Okay, save it. Where's the project? I need to find out where it is. Oh, here, code lecture 4 again. So let's save it there. Now, it's another static. Is it there? Is it under demo? Why is it here? Lecture 4 again. Lecture 2-4 again. So let me try again. Lecture 2-4. This is nuts. Why can't it find it?
It is on the right.
Here?
Yeah,
Oh, I have no public folder? Okay. Sorry, no public folder. Let's create one. We need the styles. I don't have the styles directory. And then in here, we've learned that we have the images folder. I called it styles. Maybe you should probably call them CSS folder. So outside CSS folder, and one more now, JS folder. Okay, and we're gonna save the jQuery library to our JS folder. And to use it, we're going to just pass it to where? Slash. No, this is JS. No need the slash if it's in public here. It's the same. So you're on the root page. So JS/jQuery. You could get the whole name here, right? Press. I should be able to press enter to get the name, and then do that. Now, where do we include the script? There are different techniques. One is that some people say, I create a layout file. I don't have one. And I create a layout file, and I put it in the head. Right? So when you do Ruby on Rails, you actually will put that in the head because it will cache this whole thing. In our app, you may follow what other people like to do is put it at the bottom, at the end of your body. So after all your HTML gets loaded, it will start running the JavaScript stuff. And this is better for our use right now. Okay? So I need to tell it to use layout ERB index here. Right? I redirect back to the home page, remember? So I need to do it layout. What is the file name? Right? This is jQuery. And jQuery is, even though it's been popular for a decade or two now, more libraries they now may stop using it, like React, Angular, because they come with their own API to work with the HTML elements. These are called DOM, the DOM elements, so HTML DOM. But DOM, it means you're converting all these elements into objects, so they're just DOM objects. However, it's still super important for you to understand because most websites out there, they still use this, right? I have a problem. The page is blank. Can someone help me? You run into this once in a while, right?
Oh, you didn't do yield.
Thank you very much. So I need to yield. And sometimes if you miss one tag or two, it will also, for example, if you miss this, it will also just stop rendering stuff. All right. With jQuery, after the element has loaded, you have something called jQuery here. And its short form is the $. Okay? And jQuery allow you to access the element in your code like that. And so, for example, H1 is learn form. So I can say height, or I can tell it to show, right? Or I can tell it to, maybe height and maybe sleep for 1 second and then show. Sleep is not a function. My bad. I'm not sure. Maybe delay. Delay should probably be a different syntax. Let me see. Okay, it doesn't work. jQuery delay. I have to wait 5 seconds. That guy just asked the question. Oh, you can do that, no? Why is it not working? Slide up is like hide and show. Slide up is it's better animation. So I'm gonna copy this guy. Let's see if it works on my H1. Okay, this is the element. And slide up and then show, right? Or you can do slide down. So there's a bunch of simple English-like animation you can do, right? So where does it go? Where does the code go? Well, once you finish this, then you can add it in your script. You can add it here, but I'm recommending you to do it with your own js/app.js. Okay, and how do we deal with that case? We create one file in here called app.js, and then you put this code here, and now you're gonna run. When you load the page, it slides down. So imagine you do that with your other, the complete app in the assignment. You can do some fancy effect. If you click on toggle, maybe you can also make it hide slowly or like slide to the left. It looks like swiping. So now it's your own control. It's up to you to do the advanced polishing. Okay? And the lab will tell you how to include another library where you can do the drag and drop. So I think I've said everything that I need to say for this lab, for you to succeed in this lab. Any question before we begin? No? Can you repeat that? So you're saying you can only finish?
Just milestone I and about the jQuery and about animation. I have time at home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's okay. And this is for you to push your assignment to a better touch. Like you could make it look like the one that I do here. I think the sorting is pretty exciting because just to see that you look at that page and you add one line of JavaScript and the whole thing becomes sortable, and that's just like truly amazing when people create a very clean library. Okay, it does take experience to choose what library to select. Like when I Google like JavaScript sortable library, there's so many of them. So I have to choose one that is suitable for our usage. All right, let's take a break before you guys work on the lab.